So, hi, how are you doing today?
Yes, yes, right.
Okay, great. Maybe you start by introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name is Akshay Kumar, and I'm from Kerala, India, and I have recently got my PhD admission at the University of Oldenburg in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And I have completed my master's in biochemistry and molecular biology, and my bachelor's in biochemistry too.
Yeah.
And this is my academic background.
So, how many applications did you put in?
Yeah, I think approximately like about 200 applications I think I have sent. Like for like 6 months and all.
Okay.
At the beginning I didn't know how to send, so I didn't pick my positions that are related to me. I just sent them.
Right.
And then after having a clear concept of it and how to apply and the research that are related to me and what which I like and which I have experience in the techniques and that I have sent. And that was in the later stages in the past 3 months.
Wow. So, you started your PhD applications before finishing your master's, like in your last semester?
Yes.
Okay, and you put more than 200 applications?
Yes, I have.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. Okay. But firstly, many congratulations to you, and I'm glad that you reached out. You can ask any questions if you have. So, what kind of doubts you have?
Actually, the first one was the main problem that I was having was I couldn't find out what to do next if the HR department had contacted me with an offer letter. I don't know how to apply for visa now. And I looked it up on the internet and there have been some confusions for me.
Right.
Like how to apply by the embassy and all.
Right. So let me ask you this. So did you get the invitation letter from your professor? Some kind of document that you got that says that you have been offered or invited like this for this PhD position?
Yeah, he sent me an elaborate email and then he told me that the official offer letter will be given through the HR department. And
Right.
1 week later, the HR department contacted me and asked me for my CV and all my certificates. And along with that, they asked about my living address and all, and they have taken that, I think. And also told me that it would take weeks to get the offer letter for the processing and all.
It would take weeks.
Yes.
I think they are then posting you the letter, so you would get possibly like a hard copy. So,
Okay.
did you apply for visa yet or no?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So when is the position starting? This PhD position?
The professor told me that he was actually expecting me to be there at the end of the year.
Okay, so you have plenty of time then.
Yeah.
So now basically the further process would be once you get the invite. So you are at a stage where you have got the position, you have cleared the interview and everything. They also have all your documents. So what documents did you submit so far?
Like a bachelor certificate and along with some training certificates that I did during my master's and also the result notification of the master's course. And yeah, that's all, and along with my plus 2 and science job.
Right. So all the basic documents along with your CV and maybe all this
Yes,
cover
yes.
letter motivation. And did you also submit some kind of English language proficiency exam, like certificate like this IELTS or TOEFL?
No, they didn't ask me, and on the PhD advertisement also there was not any specific requirement for the English language.
Right.
So
Okay.
during the interview also they hadn't asked me anything specifically.
Right. Okay. So what I would suggest for you to do now, you go to the VFS website. So I'm sure
Okay.
you are from Kerala, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure there would be some web page of VFS Kerala. Generally, there is, right?
Yes. I just
So-
Kochi.
Yeah. So basically, you would have to apply for student visa, and there you will find a checklist of all the documents that you need to submit in the VFS in order for them to give you the German visa. So initially, the visa would be for 3 months. And once you reach here, and those 3 months are like finishing, then you would have to apply here for a residence permit. So that's like a temporary residence permit, but that's a later stage. But initially you would get three months visa. So for that, the most important documents are this invitation letter that you would get possibly from the HR department. You need this one, and you need health insurance. So for health insurance, for at least, I would say 6 months is the safest option. Usually they would say 4 months or 5 months, but I would suggest you to get health insurance for 6 months. So what health insurance would cover, should cover, is that if you go to these websites like ICICI or HDFC, during my PhD application, I also got one of these health insurances. So there they charge very like nominal fees, and they will you have to go to the international health insurance section of these websites. You search like international health insurance, because this document, health insurance document, you have to submit in your VFS application. This is a very important compulsory document. Next important document you would need is your they might ask you for this English proficiency some certificate. So in case you don't have this IELTS or TOEFL, it does not matter. What you can do, you can submit that your whole education starting from your school to your bachelor's and master's was in English, so that is sufficient. You can submit a certificate like that. So that certificate you would possibly get from your university, from which you did your master's. Or the second option is, that is actually a bit more easier. You can write your professor, the Germany professor in the lab in which you got the position. You can write him an email that I need a certificate saying that my English was proficient enough, because he took your interview, he talked to you, and during this conversation your English was adequate. So this also certificate you can submit. That would be fine for your visa. Okay. And the next most important document you would need is proof of accommodation. So this would have some time. I mean, your position is starting anyway at the end of this year, so you have plenty of time. So I would suggest to start looking for accommodation. Now there are 2-3 main ways to find accommodation in Germany since you are in India right now. In your university there must be a department called student in work, right? You know about this.
I looked into it, and I saw there was some information, but it's saying that it takes like 4 to 6 months to actually get that.
So it takes a long time, because there is a lot of like waiting list, but in your case you have still like 5-6 months left in your hands, so you can start applying in that. That's not a problem. Just because you have time, you start applying in that. In case you get, that's well and good, but in case you do not get, you have to find an accommodation. Maybe your lab help you out with finding some accommodation, or apart from student in work, I'm not sure, does your university have some kind of international office for international researchers?
Yes, there are many international researchers there.
Right. So there is usually some kind of an international office in the university. So those people help out the international researchers with all the initial documentation that you have to do once you reach in Germany, or even before you reach in Germany. So they usually help you out with this accommodation finding stuff. Otherwise, if nothing works out, you have to search on your own. Basically, what you can do is that there are certain Facebook pages on Facebook. There you can search something like accommodation in your particular city, whatever you are going to live in. What is it? Oldenburg. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can note it down. So accommodation, student accommodation for in Oldenburg, and if you want to live in
okay.
a shared condition, that would be cheaper, and most students live in
Yeah,
that condition only, like shared. So it's called WG, WG. So
okay,
there is a term. This is
okay.
German term. It's called WG. So if it's saying WG, then it would mean that you would have a single room, but the bathroom and kitchen would be shared with someone else.
Share.
Yeah.
Okay,
So this is the most general scenario or living situation for all the students. Later on, if you don't find comfortable with your roommate or flatmate, because that's really important. If, for
yeah,
example, you are living with your flatmate and you are not comfortable with him, like there is communication gap, or there can be several
yeah,
problems, then you can, once you reach here, then you can find several places to live on, because you get to know other people and they will help you out. That's not a problem. But the initial,
yeah.
you have to, for your visa, in the VFS, you have to submit a accommodation document, proof of accommodation. This would
Nice.
basically say that you have a booked room and of this much square meter, so the size of the room should be
Okay,
mentioned.
okay.
So in according to these rules and regulations, that you have to, like, one person should have a particular square meters of room to live in, like something like that is the rule.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
and minimum, if you show something like 1 or 2 months of booking, that's also sufficient. Okay, now for example,
okay.
if nothing works, you don't find student work, you don't find on Facebook, your lab does not help you out, then the last and final option you have is to book somewhat of an Airbnb from online.
Oh, okay.
Airbnb.
Yes,
So
yes.
that would be initially a bit expensive, but the website that you should use is called, I would say, booking.com. That would provide you the cheapest rates for the accommodation.
Okay, okay.
And this you can book for like 1 month, and once you reach here, within 1 month you can like find some new place
Other
to
place.
live in. Yeah, that would be the worst case scenario. I don't think that would come to that. You would find some accommodation. The university people usually help you out. Right. Yeah. So these are the main documents that you would basically need for your visa. And so for example, if your position starts sometime in December, you should, so you basically, in order to get an appointment in the VFS office, you have to book it from their online portal, right? And
Okay.
this you should find in advance. So
Uh,
your PhD position starts in December or January next year?
no, this year, I think December.
December, right? So basically, you have to get an appointment in the VFS office to submit your documents and to verify these documents.
Okay.
Like at least I would say 2 months before. That would be safe.
Okay. Okay.
So start looking for an online booking appointment on the VFS portal and
Yes.
book that appointment date. These appointment dates are very hard to get these days. I don't know how the
Oh,
situation is in
okay.
Kerala, but in Delhi, for example,
Yeah.
even these days, some of my colleagues recently they were coming for postdoc or PhD positions. Some of my friends, and they were saying that they do not get the appointment date very easily. So everything
Oh,
is pretty much booked in advance. But in your case, you have
yeah.
plenty of time. So this is the first and primary thing that I would do. So book the VFS appointment date at least 2 months before
Okay.
December.
Yes, yes.
So the
Okay,
timeline
okay.
goes like
Thank you.
this. You book the appointment date. On that date, you have to go. You have to pay a certain fees for the visa. That's usually I don't know, 80 or 90 euros. In Indian currency, it would
Okay.
be 6 or 7 or maybe 8,000 rupees. This is the fees that you have to pay
Okay.
for the visa, initial visa. You have to
Yeah.
submit all your documents on that date, and after, let's say, 3-4 weeks, you will get the visa. The first problem is
Oh,
that to get this date, So as soon as possible, go to the VFS website, start looking for these dates. Whenever you get, at least 2 months before, just book it. And do not book anything like less than 1 month, because the VFS office will take 3-4 weeks to give you the visa, right? So accordingly, then you also have to plan your travel timing, right? So basically, you should come here, you should book a flight. For example, your position starts at 1st of December, right? So you should reach here at least 2-3 days before, not too long. Like you can come here maybe 4-5 days, but don't come here like 10-15 days in advance. Some students have done this, and it's not useful at all, right? So come maybe 3-4 days in advance here, book a flight, and right. So basically we covered your traveling,
the visa,
the visa, the accommodation, and all the documents that you would need. So you have a rough image in your head, right? How to plan ahead.
Yes,
Yeah, and one more thing. So at least try to book the flights, because in December timing the flights are really overbooked sometimes. So since you already know your schedule, try to book it like 2-3 months before. It would cost you also less. And when you are coming here for the first 1 month, you also have to bring some money to live, to pay your first month rent, and to live like for 1 month. So since you are in Oldenburg, I don't know how expensive the city is or what is the general cost, but I would say anywhere between 12 to 1500 euros you should bring German currency. And try to not bring like large currency notes, like 500 or 1000 euro notes, because it's difficult to, some people do not accept that huge currency notes. But generally whatever currency exchange you go for, you will figure that out. That's not a very difficult thing. But I'm telling you the rough amount that you would need in worst case scenario. I think these are the main points that you would need to focus on in the coming days, the planning and everything.